Well, hey, kids, welcome to another exciting episode of KWJUDAS.
There's fire that burns the heart of humanity. Seeing in the eyes of fire. Yes, is all that I see. 21 years of regret and agony. I'm lost in a world that's lost. I fall in the line of a god, and the terrorist millions to finish man right overwhelm my heart. Say that I pain, and I question who I still say. Not in pants and stone cold. Wish I could feel anything. Evil will fall. I wanna see the day. Stand on mountain flanks. The heart's igniting, breathe as one and through the brain. Scorch the sky with a rising epic and glorious thing. Remember our pain on rainy days, our past, and our cherish memory. So beautiful thing can happen, and I always believe it's true. I wanna see the fire, can't sell myself, can't sell you. Life is pain, and bitterness is my companion. Tonight I'll cry myself sing. 21 years have brought me nothing. Evil will fall. I wanna see the day. Stand on my flags. The heart's ignited, breathe as one and feed the brain. Feed the brain. Evil will fall. I wanna see the day. Stand on my flags. The heart's ignited, breathe as one and feed the brain. Feed the brain.
Folks, I am very excited to have the guest that we have in studio tonight. This is Robb Jolley, a very long-time friend I knew from growing up back in the Lehigh days.
Pioneers.
Yeah, we were the pioneers. We were pioneers together, and here we
Pioneers.
still are today. And it's kind of a coincidence that this all happened. I haven't really talked to you in quite some time. I mean, there's been very, very little talk through Facebook, and randomly my brother calls me up, and he has Robb here on the line, and they're hanging out, carrying on like brothers do. And they're talking all about these new projects that he's got going on. I haven't heard anything from you since, the Steamers days, Mon Cherie,
Yeah.
and back the Political Pushover days.
Yes.
So that band that we just heard was Political Pushover from what year was that?
I think that was recorded in, I want to say 2000, or no, it was 2002, because I've been graduated from high school.
Word.
And this was our record, our EP that we wanted to do with our brand new producer, with Joel Pack.
Joel Pack. He's actually been on the show before.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Oh, he's a good guy. He
Joel's
helped us
awesome.
record our album, actually.
Oh, really?
He put together most of my band, the Delphic Quorum's most recent album.
That's great.
And a lot of stuff happened with Rigby Road Studios, and I think he's back in action again.
Yeah, his studio is actually, his new Rigby Road is actually down the street from my studio that I work at.
Oh, really? No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
So you guys are still hanging out?
Well, yeah, we're neighbors, but we don't we haven't hung out, but we're down the
Ah,
street.
right.
Yeah, but
Y'all too busy for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just you're old and you're.
That's competition.
No, it's not that. It's just it's that you get old and you just don't really meet up like you used to. But
So he's still going by Rigby Road, correct?
yes.
And what's the name of your studio?
Audio In.
Audio. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been at Audio In for about a year and a half now. And
At that location?
yeah, at that location.
Okay.
And I've been mixing and producing for probably about probably about 2 years, two or 3 years I've been doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And now you're giving classes, aren't you?
Yeah. So we're teaching. I'm doing some 8 classes for people that come to audio in and learn how to like record with like Logic and
Word.
basic things like that. So they get 8 1-hour lessons for $200. So it's pretty cool.
That's what was that? Weirdly
Weirdly a reasonable price.
reasonable.
Yeah, that was the response to the ad, and I just thought, well,
I
mean,
that.
you can pay me more if you'd like.
I like being weirdly reasonable. Don't you?
I like giving, like education that can be accessible to anybody, and
That's weird.
and not
But
cost
reasonable.
them forever. Yeah, especially in this business, recording and how much it costs and all that goes into it. Like if you can do anything to help people, achieve their goals before they get to the studio, and when they come to meet like a guy with me, like me, they can make their album the best album they possibly could think of.
Right. So it kind of seems worth it.
It's worth it for me as a recording engineer. Like if I know somebody who is practicing to like a DAW and like understands what it sounds like to sing with headphones on, play a guitar with a click track or drums with a click track, that's gold,
So for those of us out there, what is a DAW that are just getting into this?
Yeah, it's a digital audio workstation.
Okay.
So,
I'm aware of that. I use Reaper, and you use
Logic.
Yeah. But I mostly ask these sort of questions because, I was that guy once that really didn't know what the fuck that meant.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in this sort of stuff. And God, if only I would have known how to do the stuff I know how to do now. And I really am a beginner. I'm not that great. But God, I wish that I would have learned all this shit, like 10 years ago.
We're all
and once you get
everything.
into it, it's not as intimidating and difficult of an undertaking as you might seem to think it is for a lot of beginners out there.
You got to look at it this way. It's if you're going to do a repair in your home and you never have done a repair before,
right?
What do? You figure out how to do it. You take a chance, right? You're going to screw some stuff up. Yeah,
or you hire somebody else to do it.
Or you hire someone else to do it and you figure it out. But the thing is that if you really want to be independent, do it yourself, you're going to take that risk to try it. You're going to risk messing it up.
And it's still going to cost money.
Yeah, it's still going to cost money, but at least you learned how to put it back together.
Right.
Just pay attention to what you're doing. But like you have to take those risks.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or pay a little more money and just have somebody else do it for you.
That's true.
Both of those can be applied, to the same recording or home repairs or really anything in life.
Yeah, totally.
Let's just say there's an alligator in your kitchen. You can probably save money by trying to get that alligator out of the kitchen yourself.
Yeah, before you
get your hands dirty and, learn a life's lesson. Because once you've done that, you'll know what to do any fucking time there's an alligator in somebody's kitchen.
Yeah, it's true.
You've got that experience.
Yeah.
But it's a little easier to pay somebody else to come over and get the fucking alligator out of your kitchen.
It's not something you'll be dealing with all the time.
Well, we are in Gumption, Utah here, where there is kind of a deficiency of alligators. But, replace the word alligator with any creature that you don't want in your kitchen, which would be most creatures.
That's true. You don't want creatures in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Unless it's yourself.
Think about it. You don't want a Wendigo in your kitchen.
Yeah, it's true. You're true.
So I've been on a fucking Wendigo kick lately. I am convinced that I have seen and heard one on 2 separate occasions.
A what?
A fucking Wendigo, dude. Look it up. Just look it up. If you don't know what it is, we don't want to get into a whole different Wendigo hole here.
Okay, we can say that for another time. I'll look it up.
It got brought up on our last show too, and I'm gonna try not to mention this shit on every show until I finally get one on tape.
Right.
It's gonna be hard.
Set up the cameras
for me to not, keep bringing it up. Ever since it had been revealed to me, somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Wendigos," and I started looking it up myself. The whole time I thought it was maybe a skinwalker, and then the more I look at Wendigos, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was, man. The sound I heard, the image that we actually caught on tape.
sounds spooky.
that much more matches those descriptions.
Oh man.
So,
yeah.
enough about me. You said you had some fun stories, but we can get back to that after a song. Did you want to do another political pushover song or move on to your next band?
We can move on to the next band, I guess.
Okay.
I played in.
So, Alley Boy, what year would you say? Okay, first of all, when did political pushover start?
Okay, yeah, political pushover started.
Because I saw you guys when I was fucking young.
Yeah.
Back when you guys had a trombone. Was it Cody?
Yeah.
You guys don't have any recordings of that, do you?
No. I don't know. Maybe we have a recording from like a Joe's Board Shop like performance or something, but no. Yeah. So we started it when I was 16. So.
And that would have been like
the
what
year 2000. The year 2000.
Really?
So 1999. So it's like 1999, 2000 when I met Brandon, and yeah, and so
I'm trying to think, I would have been like maybe 17 or 18.
Yeah, you're a year older than I was in school.
Yeah.
So you were a junior.
You
I
were
was a sophomore.
Jake's age.
Yeah, I was a sophomore. Yeah, I
Right.
was Jake's age.
So I was just 1 year above
Yeah,
you.
and so
I remember kicking both y'all's ass at basketball. I would take both you on at once.
Yeah, man, you were great. And
Baller. Anyways,
yeah, and so like we I was playing guitar and getting into like hardcore music and bands like the Deftones and
as was I.
yeah, like
Still down with Deftones. There's one band I didn't grow out of.
yeah, I love the Deftones. And I met Brandon through our friend Mike, and Brandon introduced me to punk rock, and
Word.
I fell in love with it. I was like, this is amazing. And then Brandon was like, hey, you should start a band with me. And I sing, I write a bunch of like lyrics and poetry and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool, yeah.
He wrote good lyrics from what I remember.
Yeah, he wrote great lyrics. He had all these binders of
Hell
everything,
yeah.
and the paper's all crinkled up because he like writes so hard with his pen. Like it's all like
In punk rock fashion, of course.
yeah, just like all the notebooks are all beat up all the time. But yeah, you bring
As
him.
is tradition.
Yeah, he'd come into my house and he'd like plop out his notebook and just like go through songs, and I'd play. And I'd play just guitar riffs, and then all of a sudden he was like, "This is the one," and then he'd just start like making a melody and singing it, and that's kind of how political pushover started. And then, then Ben, who played drums, I taught him how to play drums with 2 pencils.
No shit.
Yeah, in my bedroom.
That's fucking P-Raff.
Yeah, and so like because we couldn't get anyone to play drums, or we didn't know anybody who could play drums.
That's how you do it, folks.
Yeah, so we just kind of like I'm like I know how to play the drums, and Ben is my best friend, and so I'm gonna teach Ben how to play the drums with 2 pencils in my room and see if he can do it, and he figured it out, and he's like, oh,
that's awesome.
So his dad gets him a drum set for Christmas,
Hell
and
yeah.
we're all stoked about it. Ben gets his drum set, terrible.
Well, that's how you, yeah.
And like, but we're all like that though, you know, like it's
Right.
like, and we're like, okay, there's gonna be a learning curve, you know, and so like. But
Man, drums is tough to pick up.
It is tough, yeah.
Especially if you're trying to just teach yourself.
well, but Ben got good really quick. you know.
Word.
It was Ben figured it out within like a month. You know, it's like
Yeah.
when you've never played a drum set before ever, right? You're gonna suck. You know, and
if you
like,
just play every day, even for like 20, 30 minutes,
yeah, you're gonna be good. You're gonna
and yeah, about a month,
yeah, you're
you'll
gonna
start
get
getting
there.
the swing of
Yeah,
things.
you just gotta really try. And Ben's like one of those dudes who's just like works his ass off, and so
Hell yeah.
he did that, and he was great. You know, and then it was a great time playing with those guys, and I played with them up until 2003, probably when I left the band. Well, actually, I think I was kicked out. Yeah, but it's because
Wah, 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 wah.
I think it was because of schedules.
That sucks.
Because I wasn't able to go on tour. Like
So
they
how
want-
long were you in the band?
From like 16 until I was 20. Yeah,
Okay, so about 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
And how much longer did they go?
I think they kept playing without me for about a year, but they didn't release anything after me.
So you're on all the recordings.
Yeah, I'm on every political pushover record.
Cool. And we actually just got those recordings, which we're going to be adding to our archives on YouTube pretty soon here. For any of you guys listening that are paying attention, you know I've got quite the extended playlist of very rare underground local bands, most of which don't exist anywhere else, many of which members have died. You know, and so you're not going to get this shit anywhere else. And I have been wanting to get my hands on some political pushover because when I was a kid, I was too broke to ever buy a fucking CD. And back when you guys were renting out, what was it, the Writers Club in Lehigh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys didn't even have any CDs back then.
No, we didn't, yeah.
And I can remember just seeing you guys' hand-drawn flyers being handed out around the fucking high school.
Yeah, in the mall.
And that's what got me there.
Yeah, we were on the beaten path all the time. We're going around and handing out flyers. We were really active.
You were like the only band from Lehigh. Well, no, there was a couple.
Well, yeah, there's a couple.
Adjacent to Nothing was kind of like there was members from there, and they had Heckler.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Me and Artie Olson, if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Artie, yeah.
We kind of tried making a band, and him and Joey Stone tried making a band.
Yeah.
Never really, made it that far.
Yeah. And there was the Standstill with Greg Wilson and those guys. They were the emo punk band that we had.
I never heard them.
Yeah, I played with them. And Chris Clark, who played in that band, plays with me now, currently.
Oh, word.
And Awaken the Machine, so it's really cool.
Word. So, enough about political pushover. You then moved on to Alley Boy. We're going to hear a song from Alley Boy up next. This song is called Sticks and Stones.
Yeah.
All right. Sticks and Stones here on KWJUDAS Free Radio Provo. Thank you all for listening.
Run and get some stones. I want to throw them, every last one. Oh, this should be so fun. We should get some rope. Think that we should hang her high above the city, and so they all can see. Well, this is how one is evolution in my town. As you can see, no one here touches me. They will never escape, and I don't have to catch them. There's no place to go, no one that they would know. They just grin and bear and pretend not to notice the blood that's in the streets, because they all can see. Well, this is how I is evolution in my town. As you can see, no one here touches me. Well, this is how I is evolution in my town. As you can see, no one here touches me. I thought I would have a little bit of fun with all my people. I told them that they were all free to go. I thought I would have a little bit of fun with all my people. I shut down their pride again. This is how I is evolution in my
What a great in-studio audience we have tonight. Give yourselves a big hand.
crowd's going wild.
Good old fop guy. You know we have to pay him in peanut shells every time he fops on the air. But luckily we have a lot of fucking peanut shells laying around.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you get when you have a pet axolotl. So anyways, tell us a little bit about that band. That was your second band after Political Pushover.
Yeah, that band was called Alley Boy. And it was myself, John Taylor.
And John Taylor has quite the history as well.
Yeah, John was the singer for Blind the Fold.
Right.
And Isaac Jensen was our bass player. He played bass for Instant Winner.
Oh, yeah. I got them on my channel, too.
Yeah. So
good old those guys.
Yeah. And then Matt Melville, who's our friend, who played drums. And actually started off with...
is he in any other bands?
He played... we played in bands with, like... He played in Special Guest. He played...
I remember Special Guest.
And he played Backline.
I remember Backline.
And he played with...
I think we played with Backline.
Yeah. So the original...
My old band, Belly Button Lint.
Well, yeah. The original singer of Alley Boy was actually Anthony from Backline, and we were actually called the Oregon Trail, and like
don't remember that name.
It was like the coolest band name, and like it was such a fun band, and Anthony was awesome in the band, and I found some recordings of us like in our jam space from back then, and Anthony came to my studio and he tracked vocals to him this last weekend, and it was really cool.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to send it to you. But the Oregon.
So you're still in contact with so many of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, and so
that's the shit.
Yeah, and then so Alley Boy kind of came out of the Oregon Trail, and then Joel Pack he produced this as well.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, like it was like the shortest band I've ever had like as part of, because it lasted like maybe a year.
Yeah, I know how that can go.
Yeah, and it was like a shock when the whole it broke up. Like we played, maybe with John, maybe we played like 3 shows, and then John was like, "I'm not doing this anymore." We had like a bad show, and John was like, "I'm done." And so all right.
You guys both are busy guys.
Yeah, and so then that's what happened, and so yeah, and then after that, then I started doing my own thing and started like learning how to sing, and I went back to Joel Pack because he was like my producer for like everything, and I'm like, I have a bunch of songs written, and I think that I'm gonna play all the instruments except for drums, because I wasn't much of a drummer.
Oh, you taught someone to play drums with pencils. What are you talking about?
But that doesn't mean I was a good drummer. I just understood it.
Still.
And so my friend Jason played drums, and we did, and so I started the Mon Cherie band, and it was after like I was like, I don't know, it was like my friend Dan went to France on his mission, and he like said, "Hey, this would be a cool band name." And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like
Mon Cherie.
Yeah, like because like my last name is French, and I thought like, oh, this is kind of might suit me a little bit. It was stupid. And like I hate naming bands and things. And
it can be a pain in the ass,
yeah, it sucks.
Coming up with a band name.
I hate naming songs, and I hate naming bands.
I always come up with like awesome band names for a band I would never be in.
Yeah,
I've got a big old list of them.
Like,
but
I didn't come up with Political Pushover. I didn't come up with the Oregon
That's a good
Trail.
name.
I didn't come up with Alley Boy.
That's also a pretty good name.
I guess I didn't technically come up with.
So you just have someone else come up with your band names, and you're good.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, then like Ex Machina, like I was already decided before I.
So you came up with that one?
No, I didn't. No, that was decided by the bass player.
Okay, and my brother came up with the other one.
And then your brother came up with the Awaken Machine, and it's like I got this. Yep. This weird theme going.
So more learning experiences from Robb Jolley. All you future punk rockers out there, don't come up with your own band name.
Yeah, there you go. And you'll have
whatever band name you come up with, somebody else will come up with something better.
Yes, and you'll have all the success that I've had. But yeah, it's crazy. But
so on the Mon Cherie note, why don't we play a song from them?
Oh yeah,
this was the band that was active whilst I was running Steamers, and you guys played there a couple times. I can actually remember even some of the bands you were playing with. That was when Broke was active. That was when Trojan was active.
Yeah.
With John's band.
Yeah, John came play
And
shows with us.
we were talking about this earlier. Uncle Mike's put on that show with the three of you guys and Sauce, which was a ska band.
Yeah.
Didn't quite fit the lineup at all. I don't know how I remember this stuff so distinctly. The kid from Sauce had an ankle monitor. And that was the first time. I was pretty young back then. I was like, they put ankle monitors on people? What is this, fucking X-Men? Does it explode if you take it off? Like you lose your foot? And he's like, yes.
That's amazing.
And that's why, we don't know what happened to that band. One of them probably lost their foot. Anyways, we're going to play some Mon Cherie here. What's the name of this song?
I don't know. Which one did we pick?
It's Hanging by a Thread here by Mon Cherie. We have Robbie Jolley in the studio. Thank you all for listening. KWJUDAS Free Radio Provo. Robb Jolley here on KWJUDAS Free Radio, Provo, Provo, Provo. Thank you for joining us tonight. So last minute, he just happened to be in another surrounding city of Gumption, Utah, which there's only like one town within, thousands of miles, and that happens to be Mahonri Moriankamer.
Yeah, I think that's where I was meeting up with my friend.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds familiar to me.
Down here in the nether regions of Utah. See, most people don't know where we broadcast from. It's a very podunk town that you've probably never heard of, known as Gumption, Utah. I figured, why stick around in Lehigh?
Yeah.
They're just... when's the last time you've been through Lehigh? They're just not podunk enough anymore.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jesus, I mean, what's funny is with all the development, I've actually managed to find a lot more fishing holes I didn't know existed.
Really?
Yeah, development like moves up in on them, and all of a sudden there's a pond right fucking there, and you're like, oh, that's been there the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
I just wouldn't have known about it if a subdivision hadn't have stretched that far out to like push civilization to the extent that this pond is now exposed. I'm sure anybody who used to fish there before all that shit happened doesn't appreciate that at all.
That's true.
But me, it's like, hey, another place to catch some largemouths.
That's awesome.
Nah, man. Lehigh, every time I drive through there, so much shit has changed, I almost get in a wreck just from like rubbernecking. You know, I just, wow, that's changed. Oh, they took out Porter's place? How could they, you know, like all this, that's like they would have taken out the Lehigh roller mills. What's next?
I don't know. Every time I drive past the high school, it's like I travel through a different dimension.
I wonder what it would be like to walk through the high school again.
Yeah, oh, gosh.
It looks so different from the outside. I mean, it's like 3 times the size.
Well, the thing is like, I don't come down to Utah County that much, and I live in, you know, Salt Lake County, and whenever I drive around Utah County, it's always so different. Like just driving down here, like down through Utah County, through everywhere is just crazy.
Yeah, I've stayed here, and I mean, even just not like the outskirts of this town. You remember what Vineyard used to be like?
Yeah.
Have you been there anytime recently? It's an actual fucking town.
Like,
it
yeah,
used
like,
to be like a subdivision in Geneva Steel, and
like
that was it.
No, there's a Walmart over there.
Oh, there's everything. I mean, they got like a fucking big old movie theater,
That's
and
insane.
a place where they dress up like fantasy creatures, whatever the hell that place is called. Nevermore or something. I don't know.
I've never heard of it. That's crazy.
And then on the other side of the lake, you go to like Saratoga Springs and all this shit beyond there. Whether you're going more further west or more further south, all the development out there is fucking insane. I used to build houses out there, but that was still some time ago. And now I couldn't even pick out where those houses were because they're so surrounded in more stuff.
Yeah, I remember Ben's mom bought like a house in Saratoga, and now there's like driving out that way, it's like there was nothing there when we were teenagers. Now driving out that way, it's all full of homes. I'm like, oh, I don't even know how to get to Ben's mom's old house because I'm used to all the landmarks of like seeing all the nothing,
right?
You know, and now there's like new roads and stuff, and it's kind of like, oh wait, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe because they changed the roads.
There's actual roads instead of just dirt paths that people drive on.
That would make sense why I can't find it anymore if they changed the road. So,
man, it used to be you could go out there and you could get away with murder out in those hills.
So bad.
You really could. They found somebody just sitting in their car who I guess blew their brains out, and they'd been baking with the windows rolled up for like a week.
Oh, God.
It's kind of funny the stuff that you hear about growing up in Lehigh. I don't know if it was just my parents who liked to tell me morbid shit for some reason, but you'd always hear about the morbid shit, like when they found the dead body in the Jordan River that was completely mummified in duct tape.
Yeah.
You hear about that one?
No, I did not.
And there's all sorts of stuff, you know?
Wow.
Lehigh was a fun place, and I'm sure it still is.
Oh. Yeah, that's it was a battleground out there, man.
I don't know how factual that is. I would have to look that up. That was just something I remember my parents telling me about when I was a kid.
Yeah. I remember hearing lots of crazy stories too. And what's crazy about Lehigh is like it has this dark cloud over it.
Uh-huh.
It was like growing up in high school.
And it just gets more massive.
Yeah, somebody died every school year from when I was in the 8th grade till I graduated high school. Somebody died, either by accident or killed themselves. It is a weird place.
Yeah.
It is a weird place. There's something weird about Lehigh.
For a lot of reasons. Again, I don't know how it is now as a kid. And hey, if there's any younger people out there listening, which I'm sure there's tons of, drop a comment. What the fuck is it like growing up in Lehigh now?
Yeah.
Because I am honestly curious. We both grew up there, and man, I got to tell you, once you get out into the real world, you think this is how the world is, just growing up in Lehigh.
That's all it is.
And that's just how the whole rest of the planet works. And man, you get outside of that fucking veil. I remember kids from out of town complaining, man, I hate Lehigh. And I'd be like, what's wrong with it? I mean, there's like a crawdad pond.
Yeah. And now you know. You're like,
and then I moved only just to Provo, which isn't that much better.
Yeah.
But then I got kicked out of the school in Provo. I was in Independence and had to go right back to Lehigh. And all it took was for me to, just be out of Lehigh for like half a year.
Yeah.
And then have to go back to Lehigh High. Lehigh High. That was always the fun thing. The fucking pioneers. Yeah, like what's good about the best thing is there was almost no school pride, it seemed like.
No one cared.
You know, like no one gave a shit if our football team won.
That's true.
Our band, like our school band, had like 7 kids in it, and that was between the seniors, the juniors, and the sophomores.
Yeah.
And like there was another 7 kids that were in the drum line, so the drum line was about as big as the whole orchestra, and that's between all 3 grades.
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
I was on marching band in Lehigh, and that was the same situation, but there was a few more of us.
I had to keep switching instruments to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So like I could play the cornet, the baritone, and the tuba, so I could pick it up and play it. You know,
and you probably didn't want to learn any of those.
Yeah, I mean,
they just kind of, hey, we need you to do this.
I was like, I'm like, okay, because I guess I can, because like the baritone, the notes are the same as a trumpet.
Yeah,
and the tuba wasn't that much different, so
right?
It was easy to pick up. So like, but it taught me how to play 3 different instruments, I guess.
That is pretty cool, you know, nowadays, especially if you can still apply it. You know, my uncle was the one who was teaching us. He taught you too,
didn't
he?
Taught me, yeah. And so I think that he just saw that I was willing to do it, and so I think that was probably the whole purpose of it. He's like, says, who would do it? Like, I think Robb would do it. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, like I'll learn how to play anything.
Word.
And it was fun for me.
Yeah, being his nephew, of course he assumed, oh, you want to play trumpet? And I was like, that's not at all the instrument I came in here wanting to learn, but I got there a little bit late, and so most of the positions were already filled anyways. And of course, most band instructors, they want more trumpet players, and because not that many kids want to play trumpet. He's like, oh, Grandpa was a trumpet player. And I'm like, man, a couple of the people in my family have said that. Everyone's trying to get me real stoked on trumpet. But like you said, tuba's very similar, and French horn's pretty close. And so he'd be like, hey, do you want to learn this? He actually taught me how to play tuba when I was very young, even.
Really?
And so I would have played tuba, but I think there was some kid there that already had tuba that I didn't like.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm like, okay, it can't be tuba.
No, we were in a different class.
We were at 2 different grades separate.
It was a good time, you know? Like, that was fun.
It was a time.
That was the part that was fun. The rest of it was like a horrible, like you're walking in the trenches, you're going to get, like, walk over a mime and explode, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, like I said, you just think that's how things are. And I know that, like, junior high and high school is rough for pretty much everybody. Nobody goes in there really knowing what the fuck, unless you have a cool older sibling to kind of help prepare you, which I did not. I don't know about you. I was the oldest.
Yeah, I was the youngest. Yeah, I was
so you at least had a little bit of help.
Yeah.
But you still just, I mean, everybody's going in there just not knowing what their bodies are about to do, their hormones, their emotions, their mind is all changing, and their friends are all changing around them, and their enemies are all changing. Sometimes you wind up buddies with somebody you hated in elementary school because everything gets rearranged, and you have to start like regrouping together, and you realize, hey, you and me actually have this thing in common I never even realized.
Right.
And so, what was amazing, though, unique, at least I think was kind of unique about Lehigh, was just how everybody there was white, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
At least then. And the racism was just so, like, obliviously inherent.
Well, yeah.
That, like, I can remember when the first Mexican family, the first Hispanic family moved into my grade. Mm-hmm. And I actually took Spanish immersion from 1st grade to 10th grade. So he was put in our class because he already spoke Spanish and we spoke Spanish. And I was the only kid with long hair. And I was different and I was weird. And he, wasn't, he was from like L.A. Mm-hmm. And so he and I immediately started hanging out. He saw the weird art that I drew and he's like, dude, we should go tagging. And I was still a Mormon kid.
Yeah.
I was just a weird Mormon kid.
Right.
But we would be, just like walking home from school because neither of us dared ride the bus because you would just get too much shit. You'd just get things thrown at you.
Jeez.
And, like none of it. I got to the point where, it wasn't even worth riding the bus.
Wow.
And
it was that bad? That's crazy.
I know, it was ridiculous. And we would be walking home, and we would usually wait for the buses to leave. And on the off chance where maybe we left before the buses all had taken off or a bus leaves late, we would still get stuff thrown at us. But at least I finally had a friend who we would look at each other and be like, were they throwing that at you or was that at me? Hey, that's why I like you.
They're throwing it at both of us. Oh, no.
Yeah, you got to stick up for each other. And when you're fending for yourself, you do kind of find that bond in places you would never expect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just crazy how everybody wanted to fight this kid. And sure, he was from L.A., so he was kind of an aggressive kid. He was used to being sort of aggressive, from the school that he was from, and he's claimed that he was in a gang where he came from, and that's why they moved to Utah, was to get him out of trouble. So sure, he did kind of go around sort of looking for trouble a little bit, but he didn't need to because he got so much trouble, he pretty much had to be on the defense at all times.
Yeah, sad.
Because, every kid in Lehigh wasn't even used to it. They're like, oh, a Mexican? How do we deal with this?
Well, like Chris, he plays with me now. He's black, or he's half black and half white. And he grew up in Lehigh, and, hearing some of the things that he says, it's just kind of like he had a different experience because I think it's just because he grew up with a white family, and so and he had all of his friends. So he didn't get a ton of shit, but he did get some. But he did have racist things said to him though. But
right.
It's interesting hearing the stories that he has. I have to talk to him about it. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head of them, so I don't want to say something that's incorrect.
Right, and we don't really want to get too much into it.
No, not yeah.
I was more or less just kind of trying to draw the point of just, I guess, what a unique experience it is growing up in a place like that. And then once you get out of a place like that and you realize that, wow, not everyone's like this fucking king of the hill mentality. Mm-hmm. As I said, when I came back from Provo and moved back into Lehigh, and that's when I started understanding why so many of the kids I was going to school with did not like Lehigh. The first thing that actually made me realize this was within a couple of days, a friend of mine, my neighbor, he calls me up, and not just calls me, but he had called all the neighbors that we hung out with. And it was something to the extent of, hey, did you hear that wind last night? Oh, yeah, it was something fierce. Yeah, it blew over one of the trees in my yard. I'm about to rip this huge branch out. You guys want to come over and watch? Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. And you go over to, hit my neighbor's yard, and there's everybody we know just hanging out in the yard with one Lehigh guy with a rope around this huge tree branch, half the tree hanging off of what remains of the tree. Nobody's helping him out. Everyone's just kind of standing around watching him yep. Mm-hmm. just like King of the Hill.
It's amazing.
You know, we might as well be having like John Deere races and shit.
That's true. It was pretty podunk, man. It was pretty rough.
For not even like realizing how podunk it was.
Yeah.
That was the realization moment where I was just like, this is totally something that like Dale and Bill and Boomhauer would all be standing around watching Hank do.
Yeah.
And that's how they spend their day. And that's
true.
Lehigh fun.
That's true.
When I was a kid, we would walk to the grocery store
Yeah.
for fun. We didn't have any money. We weren't buying anything.
We went to go window shop.
We just walked to the grocery store, walked around the grocery store, and then walked home.
I remember walking.
And that was something to do.
I remember walking to the swimming pool every summer, like every day. I thought it was like the greatest thing ever. And getting like a Zinger, like Twinkie thing.
Oh, yeah. We
That's
did
so
get go to the swimming pool every now and then. And those Zingers, now that you mention it, the Zingers and the fucking Charleston shoes.
Yeah. And they had the Dr. Pepper gum, too. I remember that. Like,
Yeah,
that was
man, I
crazy.
forgot about Dr. Pepper gum. It like explodes in your mouth like
Yeah.
gushers or some shit.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Pepper, like syrup or like Sprite
Yeah,
syrup.
dude. That shit was amazing. They had Cherry 7-Up version of it, too.
Yeah, they had all of it. It was great.
Man.
I remember, yeah, I'd go there with like all my quarters. You know, I'm gonna.
Yeah, the little snack bar behind the fucking stand was half the experience of going to the pool.
Yeah, those little white like printed out prices on them, like $1.25.
Yeah,
or
and they say
75
you're not
cents.
supposed to eat when you swim.
Yeah.
How could you do that to us?
And the rope licorice that was like 6 feet long. Eat that.
Yeah,
all the way
and they
back
had
home.
different flavors of it. See, that's why all this shit was memorable, because this is back before it was everywhere.
Yeah, and like
I had never seen a Charleston Chew until I went to the fucking swimming pool, and there they were.
yeah,
They had a chocolate one and a vanilla one, and then I started seeing them in the other grocery stores.
yeah, it's crazy.
They had it first. And those Zingers. I swear to God, I never saw those anywhere else.
I never saw them anywhere, and I couldn't find them anywhere, even as an adult. And it was just like these. Then I found out the raspberry Zingers with like the coconut, the best after you just got out of the pool snack. So great. And you'd walk home eating that thing, and you'd have your lips and your face would be red from the dye.
Wow,
Just
dude.
and then you're like walking in, you're like, and your flip flops are like getting hot from the sidewalk because it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And
And like dried up worms all stuck to the sidewalk because it rained last night.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was so crazy. It was weird.
Huh.
Yeah, it's so weird.
This whole fucking episode is like the Sandlot without the baseball.
Yeah.
We probably ought to move on to another song.
Oh yeah.
It's already like, oh, Jesus. We have already been at it for almost an hour. We might make this an extended episode, folks.
Might have to.
As I say, this is a rare occasion that I get to talk to somebody that I've known for this long
Yeah.
and that is still making music and still in the scene. So let's do another song. We just heard Mon Cherie. The next band we'd move on to would be Ex Machina, correct?
Yeah, and the song
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
How do you prefer it?
Machina, I guess.
Ex Machina.
I didn't name any of the bands, but you know how it goes.
Yes, yes, that's how you do it.
But this song, Megatronic, was kind of like when I started songwriting, went in a different direction, and I got a little bit more experimental. So you guys can hear it from here.
All right. Ex Machina. This is Robb Jolley, our guest tonight. Thank you all for listening to KWJUDAS Megatronic. Sorry, I just bonked the mic. I figured I should turn this one off.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
I like this noise, though.
It sounded like your springs.
The sprongies can make cool noises.
That's true.
You know, all sorts of fucking... I think I should make a fucking instrument out of this damn thing.
There you go.
Sorry, that's not what we're here for.
Hey, you know, an experimental instrumental song. Well, not instrumental, but lots of experiments on the instruments on that last song, so you might as well play with the springs.
Okay, so who was in that last band?
So the last band was myself, Micah Aldridge, who plays.
So you're doing guitar.
I'm playing guitar and singing.
And vocals.
Band. And Jerry Hines was our bass player, but I think he left the band, and I played bass on that last one.
Word.
And so I played bass and guitar and sang, and Micah played drums on that one.
And from about, like, when did this band start? And
this band was like
finish?
Around 2005 till, I would say, 2007-ish, I think. It's like when we were a band for about 2 years.
Okay.
And we played out a lot. We had a lot of like that's like when we started getting like fans who were like other musicians, like guitar. We got a lot of guitar player dudes who were like really stoked about Ex Machina. And like
that's always a compliment. I mean,
yeah, it was cool. Like it was kind of like the band where I found guitar tone.
Word.
And like I really started thinking about caring about what my guitar sounded like, and really started understanding like effects and
so what did you like do like in order to refine that?
a lot of research, a lot of trying different things out. Like I probably owned every like pedal that you could think of, like during that time in Ex Machina. Like, well, Jerry, he worked at the Guitar Center, and so he'd get good deals on things. And then
that helps.
Then when stuff would come in that was cool, and we were all just like obsessed with gear, just so obsessed with it. And like you said, hey dude, guess we have a fuzz factory that just popped in. You want it? I'm like, yeah. So I go and buy it, and then I learned how to use like all those pedals and learn how to like get my pedal board in order and how I would set up like a chain that would make sense.
Right.
And learning what kind of guitars I liked, and I fell in love with Fender guitars and I've been playing a Strat, and pretty much is my primary guitar for the last 15 years probably or more.
Yeah.
Like Strats, Jazz Masters, and Telecasters. And I've played a couple of Jaguars for a while, but yeah, those have been my primary guitars. And this Ex Machina was a band where I really fell in love with playing the guitar.
Hell yeah.
It was like kind of like, I've always liked playing guitar, but like I got to really kind of expand my thought process with and also like obsessed with finding really good bass distortion.
That's not as common of a thing.
Yeah, like bass got really important in Ex Machina, like super, super important. And I started really gravitating. Like, I mean, I started off kind of as a bass player, and then, but I've always loved playing the bass. And with Ex Machina, I wanted a bass to be really defined and really carry most of the song. And because I want to start playing like more ambient types of guitar.
Word.
And so I want to be able to play to like a really cool bass line that was doing.
That is a good thing.
That was doing the chord progressions and making it happen that way. And that's why I really started really thinking how I wrote songs. And it kind of like started the ground for Awaken the Machine, and like how I started putting that together and making that like an actual process in the band. And like what was cool about Awaken Machine, like your brother coming up with the name of it being, the main thing is like, that was the first time I did everything all by myself. Like I recorded it by myself.
So that's all you?
That's all me, yeah. And then like, well, the first bit of it. And so like I I got divorced, and so I needed something to do. And so I'm like, I'm going to learn how to record because all my friends, are married and have kids and they don't have time to play in bands, and so
I ain't got no marriage or no kids. How do you think I fucking do it? Spend so much time doing this shit.
well, yeah, it's exactly. And so, so what happened, I taught myself how to record some demos, and I started writing songs I really, really liked. And I liked that I could just kind of do it on my time, and I can suck by myself in my room, and really taught me how to kind of be confident with singing and get confident with songwriting. But I started writing songs a completely different way. So I started what I would do is that I'd pick a random beat per minute, and then I'd pull up in Logic a program called Drummer, and it has just kind of kind of loops of drum beats.
Right.
And so I just kind of mess with it and just kind of and I'd make a drum beat for a song, whatever. And so as a songwriter.
So you'd start out with the drum beats?
Yeah, start off the drum beat. So I just kind of build where I think how long this would be an intro, this would be a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, whatever, and go from there. Then I grab my bass, and then I just start playing chord progressions on my bass and just start building that chord progression. Then I'd have the drums in the bass.
So do you have an idea already in your head for what the song or the bass is going to be, or you just
have no idea? So whatever,
lay down a beat and then just whatever comes to you.
Yeah, whatever comes to me at the moment. And so
cool.
whatever the drum beat makes me feel, I'll start playing the bass to it, and then I'll build my chord progressions, and then I'll grab my guitar and I'll play guitar to how the bass and the drums make me feel. And
so you're building the song from the ground up, kind of.
Yeah,
starting with the foundation and.
Yeah, that's how I write every song now, and then
that's kind of unique.
Yeah, and then for the vocals, I'll listen to all that and I'll write my vocal parts to it, and then I'll be my pre-pro.
That's cool.
And then I'll learn the song, and then I'll go record all the individual instruments. And so before I was playing the drums, and then do bass and guitar and vocals, and now I have drummers playing with me, and so I have someone play drums because I'm not great at playing drums, but I like recording drums, actually doing the engineering work for it. And then way Chris and I have been doing it, he'll come and play a drum beat, and I'll pick up the bass, and I'll play a chord progression on the bass, and then we'll record it, and then I'll grab the guitar and I'll play along with him, and we record it in real time and write a song.
So you're doing all the recordings yourself, and then you show it to other members and have them play it. Is that how you're doing it?
Well, that's how it was before. Now it's Chris will come to the studio, and I'll have the song recorded, the guitars and bass, whatever, and then I'll show it to Chris without whatever program drums ideas I had, because I want him to kind of think of his own thing, and he'll just start playing to whatever I gave to him, and then we record his drums. And it sounds great. And if we want to write a new song, well, I'll just have Chris just start playing a drum beat to this beat per minute. And he does that, and I'll grab a bass, and I'll play along with him, and we'll record that in real time together. And then I'll grab a guitar, and Chris will play drums again, but we'll play along to that bass line I just recorded with him, and then we'll play to that. And so we have a performance of he and I playing all the instruments together.
So it's just you two then?
It's just us two for the most part. And then
are you looking at getting in other members, or is it?
Well,
you're pretty happy where you're at.
Well, we have other people that help us and play with us. So also Randy Cordner plays with us. He does he plays guitar and he does the mixing.
Is he in any other bands?
Yeah, Temples.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Randy's awesome.
Word. And I have not heard Temples in for fucking ever.
They're great. And I love Temples.
Yeah, they're still playing and they're still doing shit, aren't they?
Yeah, they're making a record right now.
Word.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I need to touch base with that band.
And my buddy Landon plays with us too. So he plays guitar. And so we just kind of it's kind of one of those bands where lots of people are involved, but it comes like this, like the core people right now are me and Chris, because we're ones putting it together, and Randy's a core person as well for the production. So it's an interesting band. It's been a fun kind of like internet band in a sense. But
So do you play live?
we will be. Yeah, I'm putting together.
Nothing yet.
Yeah, I'm putting together the live set because we're figuring out how we can do it.
Right.
And so we got a pretty good idea how to make it work now. And I've been practicing to this process or this technique for the past 2 weeks, and it's really successful. So I'm really excited to kind of get it going and see how it works, translates live, like in a live setting. So
Oh, yeah. Well, let's hear some, shall we?
all right.
This is Awaken the Machine. Which one do we want to play? We got a couple of songs.
Let's do the Noise. That was the most latest one that was just released.
Let's see. The Noise by Awaken the Machine. This is Robb Jolley, our in-studio guest tonight. Thank you all for joining us. KWJUDAS Free Radio Provo. That was a song from Awaken the Machine. We actually have another one we're going to play by Awaken the Machine, shall we? This next one is called Multiple Personalities.
Yeah, this one's a fun one.
All right. Yeah, let's just get right into it so we don't blab for another fucking half hour. Multiple Personalities here by Awaken the Machine. This is Robb Jolley's most recent project and current project, correct?
Yeah.
And where would people go about finding this music online?
Actually, this song that we're going to play is not released yet, but...
Oh, this is a KWJUDAS exclusive.
Yes.
Oh, I
And-
feel so privileged.
Yes, we threw one in there. You can find us on all major listening platforms. So you go to just type in Awaken the Machine on any like Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube, or Prime, anything that you listen to. It should be on all platforms.
And you should be able to find most of the bands we've heard tonight, correct?
Yes, you should be able to as well.
Cool, cool. We're going to be adding some of the music on this channel here. If you are listening to us through YouTube, as I said, I've been really anxious to get my hands on some political pushover. So I'll be putting out a couple of these albums on my channel. Just stay tuned, folks. Remember to subscribe for more craziness. And we'll be coming at you with all sorts of it. For now, this is Awaken the Machine, multiple personalities. And we're going to have a word from our sponsor right after this. KWJUDAS Free Radio Provo.
Yes, I want it out. No, I don't want to see you. I've had my doubts about me and you. You need to convince yourself that you belong with someone else. You need to convince yourself that you belong to someone
One more from Awaken the Machine. This one is called Right on Cue. KWJUDAS Free Radio Provo. Thank you all for listening.
Expect a lot of something for nothing. Yet we step up right on cue. Haven't given up, we're just hoping. Yet we step up Giving up, but we keep choking. Despite a lie, just name a few. I haven't slept to erase this. I am the lie that you sold you. Right on cue, crawling through. Right on cue. Choking, despite a lie, just name a few. I haven't slept to erase this. I am the lie that you sold you. The lie that you sold you.
Hey, kid, is your kitchen full of alligators?
Well, gee, Derpensheet guy, how did you know?
Why, my challenged chum, I'm wired into Derpenschley's new alligator in the kitchen hotline.
Wow, I've suffered lacerations from multiple alligator bites to the head and torso when there's been a hotline this whole time.
Nope, it's brand new. Just dial 555 Derpenschley. Hey kid, is your kitchen full of alligators? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Why, my challenged chum, you're now wired into Derpenschley's new alligator in the kitchen hotline. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Have you suffered lacerations from multiple alligator bites to the head when there's been this hotline the whole time? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Well, try Derpenschley's brand new hotline. Just dial 555 Derpenschley. Hey kid, is your kitchen full of alligators? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Brought to you by Derpenschley. And remember, if it doesn't say Derpen, it's not Derpenschley. All right. That was a word from our sponsor. I think we have time for just one more song. There was a few that we didn't get played. We got another song from Political Pushover.
It's up to you. What do you want to play?
How about we end it like we began it?
A political pushover?
Yes, we've got...
Right. The redemption's done.
The redemption's done here on KWJUDAS. It's been a very much pleasure having you here tonight.
Thanks.
Robb Jolley. And remember, if you're interested in any of these bands, you can look them up on most social media platforms. Spotify, Pandora, Deezer,
Yeah.
whatever.
Apple Music, Amazon. There's lots of ones. Just type it in. You'll find us.
All right. Redemption's Dawn by Political Pushover. Thank you all for joining us tonight when you probably had much, much better things you could have been doing. KWJUDAS, Free Radio Provo. we'd like to thank you all for joining us on yet another exciting and exclusive episode of KWJUDAS on Free Radio Provo. We now turn you back to our regular free radio programming.